You're at the gate in 2026. Coffee in hand. Your bag cleared security. You think you're good until a gate agent rolls out a sizer, looks at your carry-on, and goes, "Can you step over here for a second?" 10 seconds later, your perfect carry-on is unzipped on the floor, you're shoving clothes into a random plastic bag, and your whole boarding group is pretending not to watch, while absolutely watching. This isn't bad luck anymore. This is 2026. Flights are packed, bins are full, and airlines are enforcing carry-on rules way harder than they used to. Size, weight, personal items, all of it. And it's not just the bag. Batteries and smart luggage are getting extra attention. Liquids and gels are getting rechecked under new CT scanners, and even certain cordless hair tools and everyday items are suddenly becoming problems. So in this video, I'm breaking down the latest 2025-2026 guidance from TSA, FAA, and IATA, plus real stories from the airport, and turning it into a simple checklist you can actually pack with, so you don't lose time, money, or your stuff. Also, there's one normal-looking item that gets people stopped every single day. We'll get to it. First, let's talk about the fastest way 2026 blows up your trip. Carry-on size, weight, and why gate checks feel way less forgiving now. Here's the first way 2026 can blow up your trip. The bag you've trusted for years looks perfect in your hallway and fails the moment the airline drops it into a frame. You've flown with this suitcase a dozen times, so you roll up to the gate relaxed. This time, the agent pulls it aside, slides it into a newer front and center sizer, and everyone can see it doesn't quite fit. And what makes people lose their mind is this. Even carry-ons that literally have the airline's name on them, the safe, ones you thought were approved, are getting called too big. Same bag, same flight routine, different day, different enforcement. Here's what's actually going on. In the US, TSA cares about what's inside your bag. Airlines care about how big it is and where it can go. They're the ones who set your carry-on dimensions. Most big carriers hover around 22 by 14 by 9 inches, roughly 45 linear inches when you add height, width, and depth with the wheels and handles included. It's a common range, not a global law. Some airlines tweak it up or down, but it's the ballpark your suitcase is judged against. And everything that sticks out counts. The wheels, the handle, the hard corners, the stuffed front pocket, the expansion zipper you only opened halfway. The inch you pretend doesn't exist is exactly the inch the sizer cares about. At home, that bag seems totally reasonable. It fits in your closet, it rolls down the hallway, it's squeezed into bins on half-empty flights. But in 2026, what matters is whether it slides cleanly into their frame on a packed plane. If it doesn't, the agent has 3 choices. Slow down boarding, argue with the frame, or print a tag and send your bag to the hold. And that last minute, it didn't fit decision can cost you anywhere from around $35 to close to $100, depending on the airline and route. While you're scrambling to pull out your laptop, meds, and anything fragile before it disappears down the jet bridge. New scanners don't measure the outside of your suitcase, but they do make it obvious when your bag is packed like a solid brick. A carry-on that looks big and feels dense is exactly the kind of bag staff want off the cabin and out of the way when bins are tight. So how do you stay out of that mess in 2026? Start with a tape measure test. Measure the entire outside of your bag, wheels, handles, bulging pockets, all of it. And compare it to your airline's numbers, not the old cabin-size tag from when you bought it. If your measurements brush up against that 22 by 14 by 9 range, don't pack it until the zipper is begging. Pick a suitcase that gives you a little breathing room instead of living right on the edge. Then do a quick gate test at home. Pack the bag like a real trip. Then try sliding it through a narrow doorway or a simple cardboard frame cut to your airline size. If you have to twist, shove, or body check it through at home, a gate agent can do the same thing at the airport. And they're the one who decides whether you pay and whether your bag stays with you. Get size under control and you've dodged the first landmine. But even if your bag fits the frame, 2026 adds another filter you feel the second you pick it up. How much that thing actually weighs. For years, carry-on weight limits were that line in the fine print, nobody really enforced. In 2026, more airlines are starting to treat those numbers like they actually mean something, especially on international routes. The rule you thought was fake is now very real. Many carriers cap cabin bags somewhere around 8 to 10 kilos, roughly 17 to 22 pounds, particularly for flights to certain areas in Asia. On paper, that sounds reasonable. Then you remember the suitcase itself already weighs a few pounds before you put anything in it. Add a laptop, sneakers, a toiletry kit, and a couple of just-in-case outfits, and suddenly, you're a lot closer to the limit than you think. The part most people aren't ready for is where the weigh-ins happen. At some airports, self-service kiosks and bag drop counters have scales built into the base. While you're printing your boarding pass or dropping a checked suitcase, your carry-on quietly lands on the scale too. If it's over the airline's limit, the system flags it before you ever make it to security. You fail the trip before it starts. Other airlines wait until the gate. You're sitting with your coffee, thinking you're in the clear, when you hear your name. You walk up, the agent points to a scale, and your bag has to go on in front of everyone. If the number is too high, your options are all annoying. Shuffle clothes between bags on the spot, pay an overweight or extra bag fee you didn't budget for, or hand the bag over to be gate checked and hope everything inside survives. Note that for domestic US flights, these weight limits are rarely enforced unless the bag is obviously heavy. A simple rule of thumb helps here. If you need 2 hands and a deep breath to lift your carry-on into the overhead bin, it's probably too heavy for a stress-free 2026 trip. So you flip the script before you ever leave home. Buy a small luggage scale, the kind that hangs from the handle, and make it part of your packing routine. Weigh your bag in your bedroom, not in front of a gate full of people. If you're close to your airline's limit, wear your heaviest shoes and jacket instead of burying them in the suitcase. And move dense items like books or chargers into your personal item, where the weight rules are usually looser. Frequent flyers use a simple 3 times test when they're deciding what earns a spot in the bag. If you won't use it at least 3 times on this trip, it probably doesn't belong in your carry-on. In 2026, the lighter your bag, the less you have to think about scales, surprise fees, and last-minute gate checks. And the more energy you have left for the next thing airlines are cracking down on, that personal item you've been treating like a second suitcase. If you've ever walked onto a plane looking like a mobile coat rack, backpack, tote, duty-free bag, plus a jacket trying to hide everything, this part is for you. For years, personal item basically meant whatever else you can balance on your body. As long as the flight wasn't packed, most agents let it slide. In 2026, that mood is changing. Flights are full, overhead bins are claimed before boarding even finishes, and airlines are pushing staff to keep the aisles clear and the door closed on time. When things get tight, oversized personal items are the first thing that gets called out. On paper, the rule sounds simple. A personal item is something that fits fully under the seat in front of you. Not if I wedge it sideways, not if my feet share the space, but flat under the seat. A lot of airlines use something around 18 by 14 by 8 inches, about 45 by 35 by 20 centimeters, as the rough box your bag has to live in. The underseat space isn't identical on every plane, especially on tiny regional jets, but the expectation is the same. If your bag can't disappear under the seat and stay there, you can be told to check it. Here's how that bites in real life. You show up with a standard carry-on roller and a little backpack that honestly looks like you could go away for a weekend with it. Security doesn't say much. But at the gate, the agent starts scanning the line. Your roller is fine. Your backpack clearly belongs in the overhead. Now you're the one being asked to check something or pay a fee while everyone behind you watches and the clock is ticking. They're not being cruel. They're trying to avoid overhead bin chaos and a delayed departure. But you're the one paying in stress, time, and sometimes money. The fix starts at home, not in the boarding line. Pick one underseat bag and design it on purpose, like a tool, not a junk drawer. A soft, compact backpack or slim brief that can lie flat under the seat will beat a cute hard-shell mini suitcase every time in 2026. Go soft-sided so it can squish a little instead of fighting the seat frame. If you love shopping at the airport, keep a lightweight foldable tote inside your personal item and only pull it out after you're past the gate. One habit that backfires now is walking up with a pile of loose extras. A purse, a laptop sleeve, a shopping bag, plus a jacket thrown over everything. To an agent, that just looks like clutter. Their solution is simple. They'll tell you to combine what you can into one underseat bag and tag whatever doesn't fit. The mindset shift is this: your personal item isn't just a purse. It's your safety net. Anything you absolutely can't afford to lose or delay, medication, passports, wallet, laptop or tablet, a small camera, one change of clothes, should live in that underseat bag, because that's the one piece that stays with you if your main carry-on gets pulled for a gate check when the bins fill up. If your carry-on is your closet, your personal item is your safe. So before you pack, spend 2 minutes on your airline's website or app and look up their personal item size. Then look at your actual bag and ask a simple question: will this really slide under a seat and stay there? A quick check at home can save you a very public repack or an unexpected charge at the gate, and it makes you look like the easy passenger agents want to wave straight on. You think liquids are boring? Wait until I tell you about the one solid item in your bag that TSA now considers a liquid, and it gets confiscated daily. For once, there actually is some good news. At more airports, new CT scanners mean you sometimes don't have to pull your liquids or laptop out at all. Your bag goes on the belt, nothing comes out, you walk through. And it feels like the 311 rule finally loosened up a little. But here's the catch. That upgrade isn't everywhere, and it definitely isn't consistent. Big hubs might let your liquids stay in the bag, then your smaller return airport is still playing by the strict old rules. In the US, 311 is still the baseline. Liquids, gels, and aerosols in containers up to 3.4 ounces, all inside one clear quart-size bag. That covers the obvious stuff like shampoo and lotion, but also the sneaky things people forget: peanut butter, creamy spreads, sauces, some cosmetics, and that giant miracle face serum you bought at duty-free and never opened. Quick check. Could you list everything in your bag that actually counts as a gel right now? So for 2026, don't pack for the easiest lane. Pack defensively, like every airport on your trip is still using the strict version of the rule. Put every liquid, gel, and cream you can into smaller travel bottles and keep them together in one clear pouch near the top of your bag. If your departure airport has CT scanners that let everything stay inside, great, you've just saved yourself a step. If your next airport still wants the pouch out, you can grab it in 2 seconds without unpacking your entire carry-on on the belt. You can make this even easier by swapping categories where it makes sense. Solid deodorant, shampoo bars, conditioner bars, solid cleanser, even solid perfume don't count toward your liquid limit at all, and they're basically immune to surprise rule changes at security. The more of your routine you convert to solids, the less you have to care which airport has CT and which one doesn't. Now picture the trap. On the way out, you fly from a big modern hub. Nobody makes you pull your liquids, your laptop stays in the bag, and you start to think, guess 311 isn't a thing anymore. On the way back, you connect through a smaller airport. Different scanners, stricter line. Your bag gets pulled, unzipped in front of everyone, and an officer is digging past your clothes to fish out one oversized tube that should have been in a smaller bottle, or never packed at all. Think of CT scanners as a nice surprise, not a promise. CT is the bonus round. 311 is still the rule. If you're packed for the strict lane, the keep everything in your bag lane feels like a reward. If you gamble on the easy lane and lose, you pay with time, stress, and sometimes a full bottle going straight into the trash. In 2026, the smartest traveler isn't just the one who packs light. It's the one who packs strategically. Imagine buying a $200 cordless straightener for your sister's wedding. You toss it into your checked suitcase to keep your carry-on light. You land, your bag arrives, and the straightener doesn't. Why? Because you treated a lithium battery like a pair of socks. If there's one word that can turn a normal carry-on into a safety incident, it's battery. You're not smuggling anything exotic. You're just packing a chunky power bank, a smart suitcase, maybe that cordless curling iron. And those are exactly the things that can stop your trip cold. Over the last few years, airlines and safety agencies have all circled the same problem: lithium batteries that overheat, power banks, spare laptop and camera batteries, e-cigs, smart suitcases. They all live in that risk zone. That's why the core rule now is simple. Spare lithium batteries and power banks belong in your carry-on only, never loose in a checked bag. Flip the battery over and look for the watt-hour rating, the WH number on the label. Most normal power banks sit under 100 watt-hours and are fine in your cabin bag. Once you get into giant bricks above that, you're in ask the airline first territory, and very large batteries are often not allowed on passenger flights at all. There's another quiet test that catches people off guard. Can your electronics actually turn on? If security asks you to power up a phone, laptop, or tablet, and it's completely dead, that looks suspicious. In 2026, power is proof. If you can't hit the power button and bring it to life, don't be surprised if an officer decides that device shouldn't be flying with you. Smart luggage got pulled into this too. If your high-tech suitcase has a built-in battery for charging devices or GPS, airlines now care about one thing: can the battery come out? On many carriers, you're expected to remove that battery and carry it in the cabin, especially if the bag is going into the hold. If the battery is buried deep in the frame and can't be removed without tools, some airlines simply won't take the bag at all. Think of it like an ID check for your suitcase. In 2026, your smart bag needs its own show me the battery moment. You should be able to unzip the panel, pop the battery out, and hold it in your hand in a couple of seconds, the same way you'd pull out a passport. If you can't do that in your bedroom, you really don't want to be learning at the check-in counter while a line builds behind you. Cordless hair tools are where a lot of people are getting blindsided after the recent updates. Gas-powered or butane curling irons and straighteners, and many cordless tools with built-in lithium batteries are now treated as a serious fire risk in the cargo hold. On US flights, the safe rule of thumb is this: if it's cordless and it gets hot, treat it as cabin only. One tool per person, completely cool, with a safety cover snapped over the hot end, packed so it can't accidentally switch on. Spare gas cartridges don't get a ticket at all. If security finds a fueled or battery-powered hot tool sitting in a checked bag, they can pull it as hazardous, and there's a good chance you won't be getting it back. Medical gear lives under the same spotlight, but with more sympathy. A CPAP machine often doesn't count as your regular carry-on, but its spare batteries always do. They still have to follow the lithium rules. Keep them with you in the cabin, cover the contacts with caps or original packaging, and be ready to say, "This is for my CPAP," if someone asks. Most officers will move you along once they know what they're looking at. So, how do you stay out of this mess? You do a quick battery audit before you ever touch your suitcase. Turn your power bank or smart bag over and find the watt-hour rating. If you can't find it, or the battery can't be removed, assume it needs extra attention and check your airline's policy before you leave home. Move every loose battery, camera, laptop, drone, power bank into your carry-on, never into checked bags. Charge the main devices you're bringing so you can turn them on if asked. And if you travel with a cordless hair tool, treat it like a tiny piece of hazmat. One tool in your cabin bag, completely cool, with the safety cover on and the switch protected, so you can show it's safe if security pulls it out for a closer look. If your gadgets can't turn on or your smart bag's battery can't come out, that's not no big deal. It's a problem waiting to happen at security. Get your batteries right, and the only battlefield left is the most fought-over real estate in the sky, the overhead bin. We've talked about size, weight, personal items, and batteries. There's one last battle that decides whether your bag actually stays with you: the overhead bins. In 2026, that space above your head feels less like a free perk and more like something you either plan for or lose. Airlines are packing more people onto each flight, turning planes around faster and selling every kind of early boarding and priority they can. The result is simple: bins fill up earlier, and the passengers who board last get whatever's left, which is often nothing. You can do everything right on paper. Your suitcase fits the measurements. You weighed it at home. Your personal item is truly under seat size. but you're flying basic economy, or your boarding group is near the end. By the time your zone pops onto the screen, elites, families, and half the plane are already on board. You walk down the aisle and every bin over your row is crammed full of other people's stuff. Your bag hasn't broken a single rule, and it still ends up with a bright tag on the handle, disappearing down the jet bridge into the hold. Sometimes it comes back a little scuffed. Sometimes it comes back late. Either way, it's no longer within arm's reach. So how do you play the overhead game in 2026 without turning into that person arguing in the aisle? First, treat your boarding group like part of your packing strategy. If overhead space really matters to you, this is not the moment for one more coffee while your zone is already on the screen. Being at the gate and ready when your group is called is one of the few free ways left to protect the bin space above you. Second, treat your underseat bag like your backup plan. Anything you absolutely can't afford to lose or delay, passport, meds, wallet, laptop, a small camera, a change of essentials, should live under the seat, not above your head. That way, if your main carry-on gets pulled for a gate check at the last second, you're annoyed, but you're not stranded without the things that actually matter. And if you're traveling with someone, coordinate instead of doubling the problem. 2 people each bringing a maxed out roller is 2 bags fighting for the same overhead real estate. 1 shared carry-on in the bin and 2 well-packed personal items under the seats often works better. You cut your footprint in half and quietly increase the odds that the bag you care about most stays in the cabin. By 2026, overhead bin space isn't guaranteed just because your bag meets the rules. It's something you earn with how you board and how you pack. Play that part smart, and all the work you did on size, weight, and batteries actually pays off, because your bag ends up where you wanted it from the beginning, in the cabin, close to you, instead of somewhere under the plane. Bottom line for 2026, bring a bag that truly fits. Keep the risk stuff where it's allowed, and stop hoping they'll let it slide. Measure the suitcase with wheels and handles. Keep your personal item actually under seat size. Put spare batteries in the cabin, and pack liquids like the strict lane is waiting for you. Do that, and you'll walk past the sizer, the scanner, and the overhead bin chaos without losing your time, your money, or your gear. These rules feel tighter because they are, but they're also predictable once you know what they're looking for. Most people never read the fine print. You just did. If this saved you from even one gate check meltdown, hit like. Subscribe for more no-drama flying guides. And drop a comment. What's the most ridiculous carry-on rule you've been hit with lately? Next, watch my safe packing video for 2026. I'll show you a real bag setup you can copy, so you're not learning lessons at the checkpoint.